about an unnamed narrator, and she basically becomes obsessed with a writer, and as the title suggests, she becomes very desperate. She becomes so obsessed with him that she does these things that you're sitting there and you're like, stand up, like it gets so deranged, not in like a weird way necessarily, like it's not what you think when I say like weird, it's just weird and creepy in the way that like she is so lost in, I was about to say lost in the sauce, she is so lost in her own like thoughts about this man who's not even that great, but she can't let it go, and basically this book just talks about that. So I actually heard about this book, I think first from Haley Jean ASMR, who I am obsessed with. She's my favorite ASMR artist right now. She makes book content, makeup content, kind of random content, like in the terms of she has a wide variety of topics that she does ASMR. She does like roleplay ASMRs too. So, but yeah, I watched one of her videos and I think she recently read this book and she talked about it. I'm pretty sure it was from her, and she described it so good, and I was like, that actually sounds so interesting. I really, really, really want to read this because I love a good book about a deranged woman, and I don't know, I rated it 2 out of 5 stars. I just really didn't get into it enough, and in the end it just kind of became so repetitive, in the sense that obviously the whole time she was just obsessed with this man, but it kind of just would circle back to the same old, and maybe that was the point. But I was like, girl, I mean, what is happening? So personally, 2 out of 5. The next book that I read is a physical book, and this was one that had been on my TBR for such a long time, and that is obviously The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. And honestly, I think it kind of lived up to the hype that it has. I think I read this pretty fast. I love this cover. I went on a hunt to find this, but I finally found it, and they had one left. The Bell Jar follows our main character, Esther, and basically she falls into this depressive state that is kind of also brought on by a man, you could say, and she's just very lost in life, kind of, and like what she wants to do with her life. It's just kind of this adventure that she goes on, where she goes from like being in school for fashion, and then she kind of gets turned down the wrong path, and she kind of like struggles a lot in this book. I mean, that's kind of what the whole book is, but I don't know, I really liked it. I kind of compared it to the older version of My Year of Rest and Relaxation. It kind of reminded me of that, especially with how she struggles with like drugs a little in this book, like pharmaceutical drugs. But yes, I did rate this 4 out of 5 stars. It does have pretty torn reviews. It is obviously a piece of literature that was written a long time ago. I would suggest reading it if you've been wanting to for a while. Okay guys, so the next book was my favorite from the entire month, and that is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. elbow themselves, or like where you can turn into any animal, like, it ranges in like the powers you can have. And Peyton doesn't have any, but in this world, if you don't have any powers, you are to be killed by word from the king. So he'll send someone to kill you if he finds out you don't have a power. So Peyton is like living a double life and has to hide that she isn't ordinary, basically. And then she meets this man named Kai, and then she has to go about being selected for the trials. The banter in this was out of this world. When I tell you I was kicking my feet, it was so good. Over 400 pages, flew through it so fast because that is just how good this book is. There's probably other things I can say about this book, but I'm forgetting, and I feel like I've talked about it enough right now, but it's so good, so good, so good. And the second one comes out in July of this year, I think, but it might get pushed up, hopefully. But I love this book. Convenience store woman, as you can see. I think the cover is so cute, so I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars. And there's also a lot of discourse about this book because this was kind of marketed, as I was like seeing on Goodreads, this was kind of marketed as like a weird, unhinged book where this woman just completely spirals and doesn't know what's real and what's fake, kind of. And that didn't happen, but people are saying it's being marketed like that. It's about this woman who basically her whole life has worked at this one specific convenience store, and she's worked at this convenience store for so long, and at the age she is, which I think is like late 30s, people start to question, like, why do you still work here? You're this age, you're at a dead-end job. And she basically makes up excuses, and she wants to keep working at this store. It's kind of her whole identity, and it's just really interesting. It's kind of sad and just interesting, and I don't really know what else to say about it. Yes, I enjoyed it, but in the end, I just kind of wish there was something else there. But it is a short, cool little read. So convenience store, woman. This is by Sayaka Murata, and I forgot to say that at the beginning, so I'm sorry. Okay, book 5 is Maeve Fly by C.J. Lead. I've wanted to read this for so long. Once I heard the plot, I was like, I'm all in. So basically, we follow the main character, Maeve Fly, and she works as a princess at Disney. It's not actually Disney, but it's very obvious that is what the author meant. But she is a princess in the park, and she kind of becomes deranged, which, like I said earlier, love. And the main like persona that she takes on is Patrick Bateman from American Psycho, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. And yeah, this is a horror thriller. I would say it leans a little bit more on thriller, just because the gore in this was not super like potent in terms of like how much it was there. What was there though actually was very crazy, but I loved it. I thought it was so interesting the way certain things were described in this. I was like, whoa, that is actually so frightening. But yeah, Lena decides to try to help her mother with her medical bills, and just with the loss of her grandma, she decides to do these medical experiments, and things start to go downhill. It's very like Get Out vibes slash The Handmaid's Tale. A lot of people compare it to. I rated this a 2 out of 5. Hear me out. Basically, the payoff was so not there. I was expecting to like be like turning the pages, like what's happening. Didn't really happen. I do think that the writing was really good, like the description and the characters, were written pretty well, but just the plot fell flat a little for me, and it was kind of one of those books where you can guess it kind of from a mile away, but it is about class and race, and it's pretty important. I just really couldn't get into the payoff, and there's no way I would be like, you have to read this book, you know what I'm saying? So for that, it's 2 out of 5. So my second to last book that I read this month is Fantastic Mr. Fox by Roald Dahl. And obviously this is a childhood classic book. If you didn't read this when you were younger, I don't know what to tell you. No, but I can't actually remember if I read this when I was younger. I'm sure I did. I was a Roald Dahl stan, to be honest. The Witches was like one of my favorite books I read when I was in elementary school. So, Fantastic Mr. Fox, I'm sure most people probably know the general plot of this. The movie is so popular. Also, one of my favorite movies ever. This is basically about Mr. Fox. Mr. Fox. And his family, after they are forced to evacuate their home because of Bogus, Bunce, and Bean, which are 3 wealthy businessmen that live close to each other and close to Mr. Fox's home, because they notice he steals from them, and then the adventure goes from there. Don't want to spoil it too much, but yeah, this is the illustrated, which I think they're all illustrated probably, but this is the illustrated version. So I had a lot of cool pictures in here, and that is illustrated by Quentin Blake. Yeah, obviously super short book. It's a children's book, but I really enjoyed reverting back to my younger self a little bit, and I would recommend this if you haven't read it, obviously. Okay, everyone, we've made it to the last book I've read this month, and that would be Every Heart a Doorway. And listen, I really, really, really wanted to love this book. This book is a fantasy YA fiction about children who have been removed from their previous world that they've been in, and they have to try to get back through their doorway to go back to their world. Everyone at this home, it's a singular woman. She owns this home for these children to be at, to try to learn how to get back to their doorway, or get through their doorway to go back to their world. And the main character is named Nancy, and she meets a lot of people at this home, and some sketchy things happen, and she has to try to figure out who did what with her friends that she meets here as well. And this is book 1 from this series, so it's very short, and it's not a complete Fly. The writing blew me away. The writing was phenomenal. It was very, very good. I just wouldn't, I don't think I'm going to pick up the next book personally.